This video is going to be about a story that's very inspirational, known as the Golden Buddha. I'm also going to take you to Thailand. We're going to look at a few temples, inside and outside, and hear this amazing story. Greetings! This is Bill. Hello again. This is the story of the Golden Buddha. In this video, we're going to talk about this inspirational story of the Golden Buddha. And we're going to actually be visually in Thailand. There are many thousands of temples. Here's just a few. And the interiors are so beautiful, so exotic. And here are other images that I'd like to share with you. Now, the story of the Golden Buddha is quite unique. It's a very, very special story. It appeared really in the public eye in 1935 approximately. There was a Buddha statue that the local monks were trying to move, and it didn't want to move. I mean, they used ropes and pulleys and an engineer, and they couldn't budge it. It was only 10 feet tall, but it seemed to be very heavy. They didn't know under the plaster that it was a steel or concrete or what, because it was so heavy. The monks decided that the Buddha didn't want to be moved, so they just reinforced the little temple, put a tin roof on, and there the Buddha, the mud Buddha, sat for another 20 years. Somewhere around 1955, they were forced by the government to move the statue because the government was going to put in a road. So the local monks got an engineer that knew what he was doing, and they used a series of pulleys to lift and move this statue. But again, because of the weight, some of the ropes broke, snapped, and the Buddha dropped a few feet, and crack! There was a tremendous thud when this huge 10-foot Buddha hit the concrete base, and part of the plaster was cracked. Well, the monks were very, very concerned. They were they had anxiety about disrespecting the Buddha statue, and they're very noble people, these Tibetan monks, Tibetan and Buddhist monks. And so the elder monk began to inspect the statue, and what he saw was a glimmer of yellow gold radiant light when he shined a light on the crack itself. So they had a meeting and a meditation, and they decided to take some chisels to that area of plaster and continue to chisel it away. And lo and behold, the more plaster they removed, the more this light, this yellow golden radiance began to shine, particularly with light shining on it. Yes, in 1955 they discovered a solid gold Buddha that had been covered in clay and plaster for hundreds of years. Unbeknownst to the current establishment and the current group of monks, no one really knew the history. And with research, they discovered that this huge golden Buddha had been created and constructed somewhere around the 13th or the 14th century, because the way the shape of the head was designed like an egg, and that was prominent in that time frame. And so they put a date of almost 700 years of age on this golden Buddha. They also discovered a mechanism, what they called a key, buried in the plaster, and it could help to disassemble the huge statue into 9 parts. But in 1935, when they could not move it, they had simply put a tin roof on this small temple, and the Buddha sat, this beautiful golden statue, covered in plaster, sat for an additional 20 years. And that's when in 1955 they discovered the internal gold and removed the plaster eventually until the entire statue shone in its beauty and glory. Now, the Wat, the temple, is called Traimit, and that sits in Chinatown in Thailand, and millions go on a regular basis to see a beautiful piece of art. This amazing statue weighs 5.5 tons. That's over 11,000 pounds of solid gold. The body from its base to the neck is said to be 14 karat gold. The neckline, the head, up to the crown itself is 18 karat solid gold. And above the crown of the head, the spike is 24 karat solid gold. The overall value of the golden Buddha is between $250 and $300 million. And in today's technology, to recreate or reproduce such a statue would cost another $300 or $400 million. So here sits a statue in one place with all that gold and an estimated replacement value of $750 million. So it's very, very interesting. Now what had happened was that at some point in the history of Thailand, and that area used to be called Siam, but in that part of the world there was a lot of turmoil about 300 years ago, and there was invading armies from the area known as Burma, and they were pillaging and stealing, looting and destroying temples and killing monks left and right. And during that time, the local people and the local monks wanted to take that gold statue and cover it in a disguise, in plaster, in clay, in decorative glass. And each time their anxieties rose, they put more plaster and more covering until they had this beautiful clay-looking, invaluable statue. And today, it's this gold Buddha had been sitting in that plaster for several hundred years and forgotten because so many monks had come and gone, so that the story got lost, the hidden secret golden Buddha. Now this is a metaphor for humanity, because we as human beings, we read the Bible, we're told that the kingdom of heaven is within. But what does that mean? Other scriptures and other religions and cultures also have written scriptures about the secrets of the hidden divinity in man, in humanity, in men and women. But it's covered over. It's covered over in fears, belief systems, erroneous ideas, programming and conditioning, traumas. You see, humanity is a unique package, but this covering known as mind, is what has to be neutralized in diving into meditation, or through inspiration, or through art, or through contemplation, or through meditation. We can dive in to discover our hidden Buddha nature. It's not just the Buddha, it's the Christ consciousness. The kingdom of heaven is within. So this story helps us to tune deeper and deeper into that consciousness that's beyond the mind, beyond all this clay covering of belief, philosophy, and erroneous ideas, to the pure divine center of consciousness. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for listening. Please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video. Namaste.